And I believe we are live. Hi, everybody, wherever we
Hey,
are.
everyone.
Apparently, we are on the Stream of David. We're on Spirituality Gone Wild. Hi, Spirituality Gone Wild.
Hello.
We are in Thai Global Awakening. It's still called that this week, right? And we are on the Stream of David page on YouTube. So wherever you're watching, we are just signing on. So if you're all signing on, hit like, hit share if you're where you're able to share this video, and start typing in questions for the stream, because I am here with the lovely and talented Mindful Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hello, David. Hey, guys. How are you today?
So I didn't hear a thing. Did you?
No.
We're being very silly. We have to get silly to start this little shindig. We have to get really super silly because we want to raise our vibrations so we can bring the stream in a moment. Been a very high vibe today, though.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very high vibe today. Hi, Purple
Lover 77.
Purple Lover. Put my glasses on. Stream doesn't need glasses, but I do.
Yeah.
So if you're just signing on, and we do see that you're all starting to sign on now, you can type your questions for the stream. Wherever you're watching this, just put questions into the stream, and we will be bringing the stream in a little bit and answering all of your questions. If you have questions for, which way are you? Mindful Matt, or myself, you can ask questions of us as well. I know the stream is the star of the show, but we don't mind answering questions also, depending on what they are. And if we can't answer them, the stream always can.
True.
Yeah. Good that you're having a high vibe day, Purple Lover.
Yeah.
Hello.
Matt.
Love it. Menacing Matt is what I call him, but he likes to go publicly by Mindful. So.
I can do menacing next week.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking mindful because I've been particularly mindful about my days at the moment and setting intention and watching stuff unfold. I've been consciously creating my days recently, and that just kind of popped into my head.
That's good. It's great. We create every day, whether it's conscious or unconscious, right? You can see where my dog attacked me the other night. Camera. She wanted to play. When she plays, she starts digging at me, and then I don't get her nails cut enough, so I get scratched up. So the idea of manifestation, that's a great thing that you just brought up, because I hear people say very often is things like, I want to manifest. Well, we're manifesting everything that's happening in our lives all the time. Are we manifesting intentionally, or are we manifesting by default? Yeah. And when we're manifesting by default, we are relying on our vibrational flow. And our vibrational flow is impacted by polarity. And that polarity impacting our vibrational flow also causes us to go up and down based on our thought process. So when we go down into low vibration just a little bit, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But when we have all this negative crap flowing around in our lower vibrational field, then all of that stuff can sort of grab hold of us and drag us down into negative territory. And when we're down in negative territory, we are down there canceling and slowing the things that we are creating when we're at high vibration. And we are creating new things of lower vibrational nature while we're down there. So that is why I've been saying a lot lately that I'm very itchy today too. I've been saying today that vibrational flow and polarity, it's more important to learn about those things than law of attraction. Law of attraction is like gravity. You walk outside, you just know gravity is holding you to the ground. You're not running around saying, I'm going to use gravity to stick to the ground today. I'm going to use gravity to manifest not floating away. We don't do that. And law of attraction operates exactly the same way. So we are always manifesting everything that's happening to us, but we don't want to own the bad stuff. We don't want to say, well, there's no way I would have manifested that. I wouldn't have manifested being in a car accident or stuck in traffic or having that negative interaction with somebody at work, all these toxic people that I'm surrounded by. I didn't manifest that fight that I had with my partner the other night. I didn't manifest the abuse I suffered as a child. I get it. We don't want to own that stuff, but we do manifest it. And the reason that I harp on this so much is because when you come to understand that you manifest everything, then you can really gain control over your life. And in the Taya practice, we gain control over our present, which is very important because it's what we're living. we gain greater control over our future. And one of the mechanisms to do all of that is gaining greater control over our past. And a lot of people will say to that, well, why do we need to worry about the past? I'm moving forward. I live in the present. That's great. The issue is that if you haven't cleaned up all of the stuff from your past, it's still there. That's why when we go down into lower vibration and we hearken back to something bad that happened to us from our childhood or just any time in the past, very often we get stuck in this vibration of never again. And the vibration of never again is created when we get burned or hurt by something and we experience pain, emotional pain, financial pain. It's all kind of the same thing. And our ego builds this little wall and says, all right, that time that you got into a relationship and you were treated very poorly and you were so hurt afterward, we are going to make sure you never experience that pain again. So we're going to create a vibration within you that's not going to allow relationships in the future. We're going to build the wall of never again, or you got burned financially or something of that nature. Go ahead, Matt.
Consciously or subconsciously, right?
Yeah, really it's subconscious. That little wall is a subconscious thing because we'd like to think, well, I dealt with that. I moved on. It's okay now. That's in the past. We like to tell ourselves that. But how you doing when you go down into low vibration is the question.
Yeah.
Because polarity is going to pull you down. And when you go down and revisit that stuff and it feels bad, then you haven't cleaned it up.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, one thing is either I'm, not dealing with it and it's still there and the energy's still, being associated with it. Or the second thing is I'm so worried about avoiding that I'm manifesting it in my worry, right? Because the universe doesn't care yes or no. It doesn't care good or bad. There's no good or bad in the universe. There's just yes.
Yeah,
so if you're constantly focusing
one of the things people have to get past, I have to get them past that in Taya Boot Camp especially, is the universe is not judging.
Yeah.
So the universe doesn't feel sorry for us.
It doesn't care.
Know how bad we need it. The universe does not care. The universe is not an egocentric consciousness the way we humans are. The judgment, the fear, and all of that stuff is egocentric thought. The universe is eternal thought, and we are connected to it. And the universe is the creator. Our thoughts are the originator of the creation, but the universe is actually creating what we are thinking for us. So, and not being judgmental, the universe only answers yes, just like you said. So if you're thinking about what you don't want, the universe is going to say yes and send you what you don't want. This is why the things in our society that we push against the most don't change. Think about the things, and I don't have to list them because God knows they're all over the place right now. The things that we don't like in our society that just keep coming back around again and again and again because we focus on the things that we don't want rather than what we do want as a society, as a collective consciousness. So we see that happening, and we don't have as much control over the full collective of humanity as we do our own lives. So we start by cleaning up our own lives, our own experience, because we're all creating our own bubble of reality. So we clean up our bubble of reality, and guess what? We start providing a positive example for our fellow humans. They start cleaning up their bubbles of reality, and then pretty soon we start gaining momentum toward humanity collectively figuring out how to actually solve problems. And it's not complaining about them or focusing upon them. It's understanding that manifesting a problem is part of creation. And step one can be a negative reaction to that creation. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that again. Oh gosh, I'm so stressed out about this, or I'm getting angry about an injustice or something of that nature. Step one. The problem is with humanity and with ourselves, very often polarity is going to pull our vibration back up. And then we go back up into high vibration and we're thinking, gosh, being angry about that thing that I created felt bad. So I'm not going to think about that anymore. I am just going to let that be in the past and not worry about it. The problem is that you haven't created a solution for it. You want to disconnect from it. But now that you're back up in high vibration, now is the time to acknowledge that you manifested something unwanted. And now that you're in high vibration, all you have to do is allow the solution to flow in.
Yeah.
And it will.
Yeah.
But harking back to the problem over and over and over again never solves it.
No. And also the other thing is, I think we need to be, we need, as a society where, well, as a Western, reasonably affluent society where we've become too uncomfortable with feeling uncomfortable. Like, part of the experience is having things that don't make you feel good. Part of growth is feeling outside of your comfort zone. We're too drugged into wanting convenience, no pain, distraction, TV, streaming, everything all the time, where it's like, actually real growth happens and real life happens outside of that, outside of that bubble of not thinking and being soothed.
Exactly. And this idea that we're never supposed to experience pain is crazy, because we all do.
Yeah.
And our society tells us we're not supposed to experience pain. Don't experience pain. Keep yourself away from pain. Don't take risks. Stay in your lane. How often are we taught that in our society? Stay in your lane, whatever class you're born into, whatever the expectations of society are for you. Stay in your lane, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. Well, that controls our behavior.
Yeah. Stay in your lane, have these tablets so you don't feel anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And the interesting thing is that we fear pain so much. Pain is just so terrible, it's so awful, it's so bad, but yet we all experience it and we all survive it for the most part. If you're here listening to us, we've survived it. So what if we develop the ability to meet our obstacles in joy, and even meet our physical pain in joy? Whoa. Matt and I were talking, it was probably about a year ago, because it's been a little over a year since I got my first tattoo. The Taya tattoo. I'm always so bad. Oh yeah, Taya tattoo. Trust your abundance. And Matt has a few tattoos. He has a tramp stamp. You should see it. If you do, I haven't seen it. So
no, I don't. I definitely don't.
let me start some rumors about mindful Matt. So Matt has more tattoos than I do, and the thing about getting a tattoo is that it hurts.
Yeah.
They're sticking the needle in you over and over and over again. And you have to be very still while they're sticking this needle in you, and there is some pain involved, more in some places than others. But the cool thing about a tattoo is you chose to go get a tattoo, and you're excited about getting a tattoo. So therefore, the pain that you experience is not experienced in the same way as neck pain, headache, aches and pains in our joints and things like that, the pain that we don't want. But we have a different perspective of the pain. So when you learn to have a positive perspective of pain, then suddenly your experience of pain is very, very different.
Exactly. The pain can be very cathartic, and it can be very useful. I was very mindful when I had my tattoos done, and the pain was helping me focus on what I wanted that experience to be and how I wanted that, what I wanted to remember from that tattoo each time. And David, you were the same, right? It's like that's a very crystallizing moment, because it's an intense experience. The fact that it's an intensely painful one instead of an intensely joyous one makes no difference to the universe, and really shouldn't make any difference to us. It's just that we're taught when we're kids, pain bad, joy good. But actually,
avoid pain at all costs. But then if you avoid pain, there's a lot of growth and expansion that doesn't happen.
I love the comment here from Purple Lover. I think it's a typo. I have a few tarts myself.
A few tarts. I think purple meant tats.
It's tats. Yeah. And it's true. And then she goes on to say, I want another one.
Different things in different cultures too, so we can.
And they are definitely addictive. I'm like itching for my next one now, so I can understand how people get kind of covered in them.
Yeah, they're really. I thought I was going to do more, and I haven't been inspired to do any more since. But I will. Actually, I'm thinking of doing the 888 and snakes on my other arm.
You should get some hair done, man.
What's that? Some hair? I have a friend here who has the little dots tattooed on his head that makes it look like he has a hairline, and
that doesn't work.
I'm sure that was extremely painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like me bald. I'm down with me being bald. I'm good. So the idea of avoiding pain at all costs, and avoiding that wall that comes up, so that we don't, that portion of our ego that says, don't take that risk, don't do that thing because you got burned before. But now, if you are paying attention to what we're teaching, and I teach Taya all over the place, and the Streams teachings, you are gaining new tools so that you can indeed have a different outcome this time than you did last time. That in and of itself can help you take that abundance block down. But going in and releasing that transgressor energy through a detuning process is extremely transformative in your life. When you start getting rid of the gunk that's down there, and it's always down there, you're able to ignore it when your vibration is higher, and when life is generally good, you pretend like it's not there. But then polarity drags you down. You hearken back to these things. It's sort of always waiting for you down there until you detune it.
Yeah, and because your connection to your stream and to your energy is always flowing, but if you're filling up a lot of that connection with baggage that you haven't dealt with, then there's less that you can focus in an intention you want to, because a lot of it, consciously or subconsciously, is being taken up with stuff you haven't dealt with yet. Right? The energy still comes in. Say you've got 10 units of energy and you're using 7 of them on, 3 of them on hating your dad because of this happened, 4 of them on hating your ex because of this, 2 of them on your kids who are annoying you, then you've only got 1 block of energy left for anything you want to create. And that's, a tiny bandwidth compared to everything you could really access.
Indeed. A lot of negative energy put forth just because we recall something in a negative way.
Loads. And my experience has been certainly, David, there were things I wanted to deal with when I first did my boot camp, and it's now, almost. Is it almost 2 years?
Yeah, since you graduated boot camp, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And you're still practicing. Look at that.
Yeah. Who knew? It's the longest I've done. This is the longest I've done anything.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to somebody today. I have yet to encounter a boot camp graduate that has not continued to use the practice as their new way of life on some level since boot camp. And we've had boot camp now for 2.5 years. So a good 2+ years worth of graduates out there, all thriving. All of them that I speak to, thriving, loving this global awakening that's happening, not living in fear right now, not experiencing life the way, and it's so foreign to me. I don't go on Facebook much. I go right into my groups on Facebook. I have lots of Thai groups on Facebook. And I sometimes when you sign on the app, you can't help but just see the main feed. Mm-hmm. And I've got about 5,000 connections on Facebook. And sometimes that feed pops up and I just see how people are just losing their minds over stuff. Right now in the United States, politics, definitely. Election year, contested election. Really, a lot of people are really down their spiral regarding politics, and it's too bad. But it's the experience they're having, and it's not my business to try to judge or change their experience. But I'm just glad for me that I'm not in that camp, that I'm not freaking out about politics because I don't give it much power over my life. So whatever the outcome is of all these scenarios that are playing out right now in our country, I'm going to be fine. Yeah. And I just live by that politics, whoever's, the president and whoever's sitting on the Supreme Court, all these things, they're simply not going to impact my life. Yeah. And I don't need, here's the kicker though. You say something like that. Well, what about everybody else? What about all the people that need X, Y, Z? I'm not here to fix anyone else or change their experience as a human being. Because we're all here to live contrast. And it goes back to that avoiding pain at all costs. What we do is we judge other people's experience from our own egocentric point of view, and we want them to have a different experience that is more pleasing to us. But yet they are manifesting the experience they're having. So if we are focused on what's wrong with them and their deficiencies, all we're doing is fueling more of that for the world. Whereas if we look at them in appreciation for the experience that they are manifesting for themselves, and if they won't help, I'm here to help anybody that wants it with this information and more. But most people don't. Most people don't. Most people want to do their thing in their own way, and that's okay. And once we all learn to live that way and allowing all other beings on the planet to have their experience, that doesn't mean that you don't wish and take action to clean up the environment. That doesn't mean that at all. But it means that you stop looking at the world as this horrible, awful, damaged, broken place, because you're going to create more of that, and instead look at what's positive about it, and the fact that everything that we judge as negative only exists to inspire new positive creation. So if we focus on a cleaner environment, we are going to manifest a cleaner environment. And yes, that does mean physical action, but the physical action in that vibration is going to be far more effective than always harping on how filthy and dirty and disgusting and dying the planet is. And that works on every single topic. And
exactly.
There's that all around us, because the things that we complain about the most just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're fueling them, right? Because you're giving them that intention, that attention.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, the universe is saying, yes, your planet's dying and filthy and disgusting and dirty. Sure. Sure. Here's more of that.
Whereas when you're positively looking towards the outcome that you want, it seems easier to pick up that piece of trash. It seems easier to actually do something. It seems easier to recycle. You're inclined to make conscious and subconscious decisions towards whatever you're focusing on.
Yeah. Well, here's something else, and I don't know if the stream is going to flow into this conversation or not, but you've got infinite layers of reality happening simultaneously, and infinite possibilities for what transpires in the next moment into infinity. And we dial into our own version of reality.
Yeah.
I see the planet is far cleaner than it is dirty. Can it be cleaner than it is? Sure. Would I like it to be cleaner than it is? Absolutely. But by and large, I see the planet as being very clean, and nature taking care of itself, and humanity will probably be wiped off the planet way before the planet's going to die.
100%.
Kill us off. And I'm okay with that even. I'm okay with humanity morphing into something else vibrationally, because that's already happened. We have already had like societies here on planet Earth that morphed into something different that we're not even aware of yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So do we have questions for the stream, or are we just going to chat for an hour and leave it at that? It's fine with me. Does anybody have a question? You can type it in right now if you do.
Yeah. Hey, Luke. Good to see you on here. Hi, Beth. Hey, Terry. Yeah. Send some questions in. Otherwise, we can ask some. I'm always down to chat with them.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. For some reason in my head, I call them the boys, but
boys. Yeah. Let's not do that. Well, Debbie G from Spirituality Gone Wild, and we're on Spirituality Gone Wild at this moment. Debbie has a new show, and it's a show for women. And I said, well, when are you going to have me on your new show? For women. I said, well, I'll get right on and channel. The stream has no gender. The stream is not male or female, and it's not a group of people who are dead that used to be men or women. It's not like that at all. The stream is genderless. So when people refer to the stream as him or her or the boys, it's always very foreign to me. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're not any of that. They're not human. They're not male. They're not female. They're not judging. They are coming to us with a very different perspective than what we hold as human beings on everything. So with that said, why don't we bring them in and see what they're thinking about today?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Hang on.
We are here.
Thank you for joining us. We have a nice group of people around today, and we'd like to ask you some questions, if we may.
We are here to answer your questions.
Thank you. Before we begin, do you have any general guidance for us, for those listening, and anything you'd like us to know?
We have a general message that could almost be played on a loop, because our message is essentially very simple. We can go as deep as you wish to go on any topic, as long as there are human words for it, and within the scope of David's intellect and vocabulary, we are capable of communicating regarding anything. But the general message that we are here to deliver, and we are going to continue delivering this for the remainder of David's natural lifetime. And this message is going to resonate and reverberate and flow through others as well. The evolved message that we are here to deliver, that perhaps you have not heard elsewhere, is that the process of creation for each and every one of you is exactly the same. And the process of creation for your independent strand of consciousness, the life that you are perceiving as a human being at this time on planet Earth, that process of creation works out into infinity for humanity, for your planet, for your solar system, into infinity. And that process of creation is an attraction-based process indeed. You are constantly broadcasting a signal, and you are attracting back to you the vibrational match of that which you are broadcasting out. And there are some things in place universally that ensure expansion in this creation. And we will get into that just for a bit, in that you have polarity that is impacting your point of attraction at all times. And the reason that polarity exists is to ensure that you are all attracting a mixed flow, if you will, of things that you want and things that you do not. The things that you do not are very important creations that you all craft for yourselves. The things that you do not want, that you do not desire, the things that you fear, that you manifest around you, are manifested to give you an opportunity, to provide an opportunity for you to create a solution to. Whatever that looks like, an evolution away from a physical solution toward what you perceive as a problem, anything unwanted. And we are not judging any of this. It is your discernment. And these unwanted things that you discern as not your preference serve you in providing an opportunity for you to create a solution so that you are no longer experiencing these things in your bubble of reality. And in your creating the solution, you are expanding, certainly as a human being. Think of the problems and the obstacles that you've overcome in your lives up to this point that have expanded you. Understand that that human expansion is a morsel compared to the eternal expansion that you create for yourselves and coming into physical environments, encountering things that you appreciate, and creating a solution to allow these things that you appreciate to flow in. Not only that, but also creating a solution to the things that you do not appreciate. This mixed bag, if you will, is a natural occurrence because you are all discerners of preference. You are all judgmental. It is an ego consciousness trait. And the more you detune the higher levels of judgment in your lives, meaning the judgment of others, the negative judgment of yourselves, the removing fear from the equation, this brings your ego consciousness down a bit and allows your soul consciousness to rise and meet it and level off. And the more you can keep your ego and your soul consciousness in balance, the more joyous human experience you are going to have. When these things get out of balance, when you try to push your ego consciousness down and allow your soul consciousness to step forward, believing that somehow that is your intention as a physical being, you are missing out on a lot of life because you are having to separate yourself from humanity to get that imbalance going and sustained. These are the ones that want to sit on a mountaintop and meditate their days away. But you exist in that state of eternal consciousness forever, eternally, into infinity. And you are existing in that state simultaneous to all of your physical existences, which are also simultaneous and endless. You are but a strand of your consciousness here perceiving life as a human being and trying to eradicate all of your humanness and simply allowing your spiritual side to step forward. You are missing out on the very things that you came to this life to experience. Also, when you are allowing your soul consciousness to be overshadowed by your ego consciousness, you are far more aware of the effects of this. This is where you are perhaps living in a state of fear. You are allowing your limiting beliefs to stifle you. There are things that you are desiring that you're not allowing to flow into your life experience. Or your ego is so turbocharged out of fear that you become a narcissist, or you become a type of being that is running on ego and in your perceived accomplishments And notice that those that are running on the perceived accomplishments, those that are manifesting material things and status and titles and things of this nature to feed their disconnection from their ego consciousness, their source consciousness, never achieve enough. There are beings among you who you see achieving great things, yet it's never enough, never enough, never enough. They need one more. That is another sign of an ego and a soul consciousness being out of balance, because they are using these ego-driven material manifestations to feed their missing connection to our energy. So this is why we guide you to keep these two things in balance, to meditate, to appreciate all that is, to establish a spiritual practice where you understand how creation occurs. And from there, from a space of non-judgment, you are all free to create all that you want and experience everything that you want and anything that you want. There is no judgment from us on this. But you will not find yourselves in that balance slipping into the need for something to soothe your disconnection from source, the need for something to feel whole, the need for a soulmate, the need for $1 billion, the need for yet another lofty title, if you will. The need for all of that diminishes. The allowance of it can still be, and the experiencing of it can still be, but the need is gone because you learn to be at peace and learn to exist in joy regardless of external conditions. And this is what we are guiding all of you to that are ready to comprehend life in this way.
Oh, beautiful message. Thank you. It's interesting what you said there about allowing things to flow into your life. And I think once you align with that inner joy, the allowing becomes more easier.
The allowing is about raising your vibration, standing in a place of confidence, knowing that it shall be, but not needing it to be. And that is a delicate balance that you can all achieve, and it is your natural state, but you have been taught otherwise in your society. Your society teaches you fear, hard work, staying in your lane, as David was sharing before we fully manifested here. These ideas are born of fear and created to control the masses. Mm-hmm. And indeed, there was a time that controlling the masses served the expansion of humanity. But you are moving out of that time. In fact, this is an unprecedented moment on your planet. And you are all here at a very special time where humanity is evolving away from the need of these mechanisms of control, these mechanisms of society building. Mm-hmm. You are coming to understand that all of these things that you have created can continue to be evolved and created, even made more perfect, if you will, without the constraints of judgment and fear that has been placed upon you for centuries.
Oh, beautiful. Luke has a question. His brother, this is the first time he's watching David channel you, and he asks, what is the purpose of human life?
The purpose of all physical existence, in this case, humanity is a speck of dust in the spectrum of all that is in physical, certainly. But the purpose of all physical is to expand the consciousness of the universe. And that expansion is achieved by strands of consciousness. You are all expressions of that which we are, coming into physical and discerning preferences. You all enjoy your physical experiences very much, even if you are holding yourselves away from joy in this moment or in this lifetime. It is our promise to you that in your non-physical state, regardless of your judgment of how you lived your life, you will see that you enjoy physical very much, the physical expressions of that which we are. Yes, when you are not physical, you are existing in a state of non-judgment and non-polarity, and therefore no contrast. So you have no problems, you have no currency, you have no illness, you have no physical body, but you also have no expansion. You are existing in pure positive energy, and you are omnipresent and omniscient, and that is a glorious state, but is not offering the expansion that you all desire to move more and more into what we would, for lack of better terminology, tell you is the core of source energy. Thinking of the pictures behind David's head, you see the core, and you see all of these little strands. All of the strands are moving more and more and more into the core. And as these strands move into the core expands. And as energetic beings, we are ever expansive. That is the driver of the expansion of the universe. But that expansion is achieved by projecting your consciousness into physical, discerning your preferences for your environment, that which you like and that which you do not, and manifesting the things that you like and manifesting some of the things that you do not. And in your manifesting the things that you do not, you are presented with a challenge to overcome or ignore and allow to continue. And notice that you all have a mix of these things in your life. You have some things that you have encountered that are obstacles that you have created solutions to in your lives, and you have expanded in the process. And you have other things that you have not yet addressed that will continue to come around for you again and again and again until you decide to address them. Sometimes you do not address these successfully at all during a lifetime, and there is nothing wrong with that. It is simply the experience that you provided for yourself while you were in physical. But that expansion that is achieved in the manifesting of your desires and the overcoming of your obstacles is exactly what expands your being, moves you more into the core of source energy, expands our energy, and continues the ongoing expansion of the universe. That is the purpose of being a human being. That is the purpose of being any physical being anywhere. That is the purpose of physical. Humanity and planet Earth is but one of endless expressions of that. And you are perceiving your world and even the universe from a human perspective, with a human ego that very much overshadows your eternal strand of soul consciousness, so that you can come here and relearn being physical over and over and over again. And you're relearning it, allowing a few things in your early childhood experience to set you off on a path, perhaps even before your early childhood experience, perhaps even at just conception, placing yourselves on a path that then you are going to manifest the rest of your way on your own. And everything that you are experiencing as a being is your manifestation. Your point of entry, your parents, your family, your religion, your race, your culture, all of these things were your original vibrational choice for the contrast that would be offered. And we understand that when we say that, very often the response is that you would have not chosen what you manifested into. But it's our promise to you that you indeed did. And those that are choosing more sophisticated paths, more difficult paths, or more sophisticated strands of consciousness that have experienced physical in such ways that now you are seeking more difficulty, more challenge. And in manifesting into greater challenge and greater difficulty, understanding the amount of expansion that is offered in such a vibrational alignment. Very long answer, but the purpose of humanity is exactly that. And those are the very best human words that can be found at this time to describe it.
Yeah. The purpose of humanity is to contribute to universal expansion. Indeed. I have two questions. One is a little bit cheeky, and I'll ask that second. The first is: has it always been this way? Has there always been has there always been physical, and has physical always been the path to universal expansion?
When you use terms as such as always been, you are speaking again in linear time. There is consciousness and existence that is not existing, and the consciousness is not existing in linear time. The creation of and the expansion of is ever evolving, if you will. But it is evolving from original thought. And original thought would not have occurred without physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Original consciousness created physical, and physical created original consciousness. We understand this is a chicken and the egg, or the egg type of scenario, and it's hard to wrap your mind around it. And that is where the thought power of humanity ends, because it is so beyond your linear time reality. How could original thought and original physical creation, one having to create the other, exist independently? This is where we leave you as humanity, with understanding that you will understand that better when you are no longer physical, because you are measuring everything against physical reality. Yet those things did happen simultaneously.
Yeah, our experience is so bound to the concept of linear time, we can't really grasp spontaneous time, can we?
Correct. And this is why we very often leave you with, there are things that are beyond your comprehension, and there are things that there are no human words for. As our message evolves, we are likely to create some through David's vocabulary. But that is where you are going to get to that pin dot of a moment of the spark of original thought and the spark of original creation, and not be able to come up with anything that describes that to your human mind.
Well, scientists are stuck at this Big Bang idea, which seems very fanciful and childlike when you consider it. All of a sudden there was a pop.
The pop is not what is perceived. We have said many times over that your planet started as a speck of dust and expanded from there. As all things did. There are building blocks of physical creation, and expansion happens via attraction, always. So a speck of dust attracts another speck of dust vibrationally, because there's consciousness in every speck of dust. Suddenly you have two specks of dust creating one bigger speck of dust.
That's how our manifestations work as well.
That is how every manifestation works.
Oh, beautiful. The second cheeky question is, if the objective of Source, or the objective of the universe, is to grow the core through expansion, why, and if the universe can do everything, why doesn't it just create a state of completed expansion?
Because the universe is both energetic and physical. And the ongoing expansion is the magic of it, if you will. The magic of expansion, of what's next, of what is becoming a more sophisticated version of. Notice that humanity, we have shared before that there have been beings, intelligent beings on your planet, that created technology that brought them to a point of destruction. And that creation of technology and that point of destruction has not even fully been realized by humanity yet. And yet the vibration of those beings is still present in a more sophisticated way, coming back as now human beings. And this pattern will likely repeat itself. At some point, humanity will no longer be a vibrational alignment with planet Earth. You may indeed manifest your path to someplace different. You may indeed manifest your path to physical destruction, but the energy that is your consciousness will come back yet again and materialize yet again in a different way, in a more sophisticated way.
Why aren't other life forms on the planet evolving as rapidly as we are?
There was a shift, a disruptive shift in the brains of the beings that you would consider early humans. That disruptive shift set you on a different path of perceiving your environment differently than the other beings on your planet, which created greater intelligence within you. And of course, through evolution, and now that your evolution has taken off, if you would, for lack of a better term, on a path of a life of its own. You've taken off much more significantly in your brainstem development than the other beings on your planet, certainly. And that has created this unique environment for humanity and has placed you at the top of the food chain on your planet. And notice that the ones who are at the top of the food chain, who have created the most technology and expansion and experiences, are also the ones that are creating what you consider the destruction of your planet. There's contrast on all topics.
It's true. And this ability to have conceptual thought, this ability to understand and discuss ideas, has led to a massive sort of evolution, and has given us the ability to dream as well, doesn't it? You know, our dreams a portal to the higher realm?
Your dreams are a reflection of your vibration, certainly your dominant vibration that is present, and your consciousness is experiencing beyond your physical body, certainly in a dream state. And your dream state is a reflection of your dominant current vibration, and your mind is creating physical scenarios to play out for you and reflect back to you what your dominant vibration is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to have stressful dreams. If your dominant vibration is, for example, being sick or poor or something of that nature, that is going to be expressed in your dream state, whether you remember them or not. That's what you're experiencing.
Because we see animals dreaming. You know, often you can see a dog in the middle of a dream or a cat in the middle of a dream. Why don't they do that? What's their experience? Do they remember it the next day? What does
they are experiencing the same thing. They are encountering their dominant vibration in dream state in a way that they can perceive and decode and understand what it is, or they would not be having a reaction to it. And what you are witnessing is their reaction to their dream state. Notice that humans, when you get into deep sleep, you are always dreaming. You rarely tend to remember these dreams unless you awaken in the middle of that deep sleep, or it's something that is so significant and so disturbing to you that it wakes you up and you remember it for a time and it fades away. That is your mind creating something, and the mechanism that allows that dream to fade away is simply because it is not so significant that you even need to remember it. It is simply a reflection of your vibration in the moment, and the gift that is given there is a reflection back of what your true dominant vibration is. Many of you like to kid yourselves or lie to yourselves about what your dominant vibration is. We will tell you that whatever's going on in your life is the very best reflection of what your dominant vibration is, because you're attracting everything that's around you. And when some come to us or to David and his coaching program and say that they are aligned with X, Y, and Z, yet X, Y, and Z are not occurring, they are kidding themselves, because if they were aligned with X, Y, and Z, they would be experiencing X, Y, and Z. And your dream state is yet another indicator of what your true dominant vibration is.
And certainly, you know, my experience has been recently, I've consciously been trying to align to some different experiences, and in holding the idea of that alignment and in concentrating on being in that alignment, those sorts of things are starting to appear in my experience. You know, you speak a lot about the isness of future states that you want to be.
When you align yourselves with the isness of what you desire and leave it at that, and stop trying to hammer away at creation by thinking things into being, because that backfires on you every time. And the reason that backfires on you is because you have a vibrational flow up and down. And when you're in your high vibrational state and you visit these things that you're trying to create, you are indeed creating them. But when your vibration drops and you revisit these topics, you are going to experience them differently. You're going to have doubt, fear, impatience, and all of these lower vibrational thoughts, and you are going to create static in that manifestation, certainly.
Fascinating. Terry asks, she's asked a question based on something that you shared previously. You spoke about historically in time there was a disruption in primitive man's brain capacity. Who or what created this disruption?
What you would label as early humanity created the disruption. You all create your own disruptions. The driver of the disruption, however, was vibrational flow. Was a dominant species emerging, which is a very natural occurrence in a physical environment, and creating a disruption to move to the top of the food chain, if you will. And it is not unusual in a physical environment for a lording species, if you will, to emerge because of this vibrational flow that creates the disruption. There are other physical, what you would call animals on your planet that could have become the leaders of your planet. There is a reality that the big cats of your world could have become the leaders, that other types of ape-like creatures could have become the leaders, but instead it was what you now label humanity. And when that happens, that strikes a balance that keeps everything expanding and in balance. And that dominant brain function is something that has become so pronounced on your planet that you have created all of this technology, and your expansion as humanity for a very long time was served by all of this society building that we speak of. And all of that society building has great contrast, like every topic does. The positive contrast of that is that it brought you further and further and further along. You created speech, you created language, you created education, you created all sorts of things that allowed you to manifest a great evolution in your species that your other animals on your planet have not yet done. In fact, you have manifested such a level of evolution of thought that is sort of holding all of the other species back. And that's a very natural occurrence, that they are obedient to humanity. Even if you're not physically encountering. There are certainly animals on your planet that have never encountered a human being, but the dominant vibration of the species in the animal kingdom in general is obedient to humanity's rule, because humanity has the dominant vibration of thought on the planet at this time.
So there seems to be a framework, a typical framework for physical realities, where an actor in that framework it tears away from the rest of them and dominates completely, almost in a way.
And notice that happens in multiple topics within humanity. Again, everything is a wormhole. Everything is an outward reflection endlessly. So that happens across humanity as well with your creation. There's always a dominant that steps forward. And know too that the disruptive period is still at play, because you went from creating an intelligence that moved you out of the food chain and into society creation. And now you have created technology that is indeed moving you out of society creation. That's why this time on your planet is indeed so special.
How long will it go for? Can you give us an indication of what this period of time is? The Industrial Revolution has been very, very short.
The time frames are human creation. We do not communicate, or our consciousness is not about time frames. What happens next for humanity is always up to humanity. How long something is going to take is the ebb and flow of your reaction to the disruption that you have created. And that is the magic of creation. And we are not here to take that away from you, because that is why you are here. So we are not here to say this is next and this is the year that this is going to happen. We all understand that you're all wanting to hear that from us, but that is all rooted in fear and rooted in your ego. You want to know. We are telling you that it's up to you what happens next. Up to you individually what happens next in your lives, and up to you collectively what happens next for humanity on your planet. And the time frames, you will notice, are tightening up. The evolution of new technology and the evolution even of your physical bodies is speeding up. We have delivered a message not long ago that time has sped up on your planet. Time has sped up on your planet. And you are bewildered by this because your mechanisms of time to your discernment have not changed, but they have.
Yeah. And even the concept of, even the concept of clocks were only really invented when we had train travel and people needed to know what time the train was going to come to another village. Until then,
technology is in infancy on your planet, and the technology of mass communication has done more to expand you to this place. The medium that you are experiencing right now, where David and Matt are on opposite sides of your planet, communicating in this way in a common language that you can all understand, that is what has created the expansion. That is what has created the reset, the disruption, if you will, because you are all now coming together and questioning like never before. And notice that your younger generation is being born into this time of disruption and questioning, and not choosing to live the templated lives that their parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents chose to live. And we are not saying there's anything wrong with those other generations. They were exactly up to speed with the time they were born into, and they were performing their lives in such a way that was adherent to the expansion of humanity for that time. but they cannot look at their children and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren and judge how they are living their lives as wrong in honesty, because it is not wrong. It is just different. It is up to speed with the current time. So a child born today is far less likely to live the traditional lifestyle of their grandparents. And the children that were born 20 years ago that are becoming adults at this time are not choosing to live their lives the way their parents did. The idea of marriage and procreating at a young age and going to work in a specific job and staying there throughout a lifetime until retirement, and the idea of staying in one town and not being mobile. In fact, you hop countries now. Very, very common.
Well, we used to.
That is the vibration of now.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And you know, this technology is as beneficial as it is harmful. You know, we've seen an explosion of mass communication and an explosion of the ability to share ideas, and those ideas can be good ideas or they can be very dangerous ideas. We've also seen a huge explosion in miscommunication and in fear mongering and in
there's contrast on every topic, and there always will be in any physical environment. There is always a positive and a negative, always, always, always. Even if you do not see it at face value, the things that you consider very, very negative are there to inspire you positive, therefore they become positive. And the things that you view as positive are viewed by someone on some level as negative. And the more these thoughts expand, the more apparent the contrast, the positive and the negative, becomes for all. But once you understand that there's contrast on all topics, and there are many human beings on your planet that do not grasp that. Their version of perfection is something that they have not achieved yet, and they hold these things in high regard, whatever it is, believing that that's going to bring some state of perfection to their lives. But there is nothing physical, nothing material that you are going to manifest in your lives that are going to deliver that state of clarity that your simple becoming one with self and balancing your ego and soul consciousness is going to accomplish for you. And there are billionaires on your planet that are not capable of achieving this at this time because they will not allow themselves to. Those of you, the handful that are on this video right now, are receiving information that even your billionaires cannot yet comprehend.
Yeah, this really is the leading edge of thought. And thank you so much for sharing it with us. Unfortunately, and this always makes me laugh, you know, we're out of time. We're binding you to a tiny unit of time. Do you have any final messages for us? It's been such a
the tiny unit of time is perfection, because we deliver a lot of thought in very little physical time. This is why we always guide you at the end of these interactions to go back and view this again and again and again, because there are a lot of layers that are being offered here. We will end with touching on something that you mentioned a moment ago regarding the not being able to hop between your countries right now. This reset has created your pandemic, and your pandemic has created the perfect scenario for lack of a better term, a pushback on the expansion that humanity has been encountering. So the constraints and the slowing down of your travel and all of this is contrast in your expansive nature. You have been so expansive that you all have this ability to travel and go and do whatever you want, whenever you want. The contrast of that is now you're seeing a little bit of a pushback on that. And the pandemic created that. We are not saying that there is not a tangible illness connected to the pandemic, but the tangible illness was a manifestation, and the reaction to the tangible illness was a manifestation and continues to unfold as such. And there is negative in that, certainly, in that you are now finding yourself stifled in a way that you never thought you would be, which is creating some contrast, some negative for you. But born of that negative can be positive. And part of the positive that is bubbling up from all of that is all of the things that have started to occur across your planet as far as conspiracy theories and uprisings and protests and all of these things that are happening in different places across your planet that were not happening on this level before. It is this ebb and flow of that which you consider positive and negative, which is a sure sign of your reset, a sure sign of your collective ascension to a higher vibration. And we have been speaking about this for a few years now, and now it is speeding up. And this is why we have chosen to come and flow this way at this time, to to merge with a handful of you who are ready to comprehend this information and apply it in your lives, and then take this information and begin sharing it on a broader scale, because this is going to aid humanity's ascension to the higher level, understanding what all this is about, understanding what your true purpose is here, understanding how you can view all of these events from a higher perspective. And suddenly it's not a negative thing, it's a positive thing, because you're understanding the nature of vibrational flow and the true nature of creation. And the vibrational flow that is born of polarity exists to create a more perfect version of whatever it is. And that exists in all places that are physical, on all topics, into infinity. That vibrational flow is there for all physical beings to encounter a mix of positive and negative. This is what creates the contrast on all topics. And anything that you view as negative, unwanted, it is okay for you to discern that preference. But understand that all you need to do is raise your vibration, either independently if it's something that's specific to your life, or collectively as humanity, and solve any problem that you have in the raising of your vibration. Anger and all of these negative emotions are step one, and you are truly moving to a place where you can begin to eliminate step one. You can begin to eliminate the negative knee-jerk reaction to the things that you don't like, don't prefer, don't want, or scare you, because you're learning to detune fear and judgment from your lives. It's not going to bring you to a state of perfection, but it's absolutely going to elevate humanity to a different place where you are operating on such a different level that you are appreciating your obstacles, and you are solving your problems much faster, and you are indeed expanding at a higher rate and contributing more to the expansion of the universe. This is the next phase of humanity on planet Earth, should you choose to go there. But it's up to all of you whether you want to apply these things to your lives or not, and whether you choose to share them or not. It is up to you. And what's next is up to you, and we are not going to judge any of it. Much love. That's all we have.
Namaste. Hey. Oh, great, man. Amazing, as always. As always. Lots of really deep, profound stuff, which is great. No judgment. Enjoy yourselves. The nature of this physical and most physicals is unfolding perfectly. Yeah. Great show.
I'm always confused when I come back, so I just tell me what just transpired.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone else who was watching.
Thanks everybody for watching and commenting. I see lots of comments. I see we had lots of people on, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch it back and see what transpired, as always.
Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't get to all the questions. I'll write them down for next week. Luke was asking about psychedelics. We should do a drug issue, actually. Do a drug show where we just dive really deep into, the effect of drugs on human consciousness, and
maybe everybody can get stoned and come on the show. I'm just kidding. No. All right. So I get jokey when I come back, because it takes a lot of my energy to do that, and I'm always just I'm very, very buzzy when I come back from this stuff.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Thank everybody for watching and asking questions and participating. I just love having everybody come, because you all draw so much fantastic information from the stream.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll begin to wrap my mind around what everything was shared tonight. Matt, thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Pleasure. Love you, buddy. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love you. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.